When I divorced at 60, after a 25-year marriage, I thought I'd lose everything. My home, my dignity, my future. Can you relate? But I rebuilt my life from scratch, and today I'm sharing what I wish someone had told me back then. Welcome back. I'm Stella, and I'm talking about how I reinvented myself after my late life divorce. If you're new here, I talk about women over 60 reclaiming their true selves and living their best life. If that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. I'm tackling the subject of how to start over and survive being single over 60. Things I learned over the last 7 years that I wish I knew before. But first, here's a hard truth. We must be willing to get rid of the life we planned so that we can have the life that is waiting for us. And that quote requires bold reflection and powerful determination, both of which I had none of when I went to my lawyer's office for the first meeting in my divorce case at 60. First thing I didn't know was what to expect in my first lawyer's meeting. 2 questions. The first one, how do you want to live? The second, how much do you need to live? I only had a vague idea of the answers to that question, and that is a very dangerous place to be. Why? Because, a little backstory. In divorce, you and your lawyer draw up what's called a separation agreement, which is the backbone of your divorce judgment. And when the judge stamps that, it's cast in stone for the rest of your life. So, my answers to those questions would determine the rest of my life. No pressure, but why doesn't anyone tell you this at the outset, in layman's terms, simply like I'm telling you now? But wait, here's the cherry on top. How will you survive financially while the divorce is in process? You better have a strategy because bills still have to be paid during the divorce process, and if you don't have control of the money or your living arrangements, you will be at a huge disadvantage, to say the least. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you will have actionable steps to take control of your finances, even if you're just starting over. The second thing I wish I knew was I had to change my state of mind, and fast. I had equated being 60 and single to being rejected, less than, purposeless. This meant I had to find a new way of thinking. I was rebuilding my life for one. Like many women in my demographic, we built our lives around our husband, our family, our household, and our own ambitions, wishes, or goals were set aside. I suppressed that energetic part of myself for the good of the family, the couple. Personally, I had agreed to abandon my high 5-figure salary and a career that I had sacrificed for so that my husband could advance his career, eclipse my salary, and we'd have a great life. Sound familiar? Did you sacrifice your central years for others? So I had to start being strategic. But how? Google became my midnight lover, but he came up with little in practical terms. If this sounds like your story, let me know in the comments. The third thing I wish I knew, strategically preparing does not make me evil. Things to do while you're married. People will tell you to fight for your marriage, etc. But what they don't know is that divorce is happening and you will be broke if you don't put your energy into a game plan for your financial survival. Similarly, if you're not divorcing, the following tips will make sense to you. No pun intended. Again, nothing I Googled prepared me for this. I'm here to show you what worked for me. What I did? Well, money came first. Now, since I only had joint credit cards and bank cards, I decided it's time to get my own. The credit card was a little tricky since I had left my job and I didn't have employment, but retailers are pushing credit cards like crazy, and my girl at the cosmetic counter in the pharmacy had given me an application. So I filled it out, put our household income, but only my name. Presto, in 5 days, I had my first credit card in my name. And of course, they increased my limit And within 2 months, I applied for another credit card at the grocery store. And presto, I had a credit rating and I was on my way. The next thing I did while I was still married, each time I went to the pharmacy or the grocery store, I got 2 of basic household items each time they went on sale. In this way, I built myself a little bunker of basic supplies for my divorce journey, for when I was living on my own. I wouldn't have a huge cash flow drain in the beginning of my journey because of this. Pro tip, each time I went to the store, I also got $20 gift cards from the grocery store and the pharmacy for difficult days in the future. Like when it's Christmas and you want to get a nice roast and it's not in your budget, or maybe even a couple of gifts. Those gift cards came in so handy. No fear, I created a checklist to help you take control of your finances in just 30 days. It's free. Grab it in the description box. The fourth thing I wish I knew, I was actually highly employable. Who knew? At 60. So I began looking for a job. I thought it wasn't easy when you're 60, and it's true, people look at you kind of funny. But since there's a shortage of workers, retail loves me. I'm old school, I show up on time, I work extra hard, I take care of my customers. I'm the type of girl that doesn't need any sick days for my kids because they're not in daycare anymore. So yeah, I got a retail job, and it came with a medical benefit package. Not bad, eh? The fifth thing that I did, and this was golden, expense tracking. I know you're rolling your eyes. Expense tracking is a way to live powerfully. It became my secret obsession once I started because it gave me back control of every aspect of my life. Since the financial matters were not handled by me, I had to get up to speed. I discovered expense tracking and I started using the free app by the famous Dave Ramsey called Every Dollar. Let me tell you, this is the most empowering thing you can do for yourself because it gives you tremendous truth about your spending, and you decide what you need to stop, what you need to reduce, and what you need to change the frequency of. You're in total control. Actually, I did a whole video on women and your money after 60. I'll put a link down below where I talk about 7 simple things I changed that put money back in my wallet. This is a high value episode. Don't miss it. Plus, if you are divorcing, I have a special playlist covering some other details. I'll link that in the description box for you too. To go back and answer the question in the beginning of the video, how do you survive financially during the divorce process, which could take up to 2 years? Well, the steps that I outlined in the previous section here will give you a lot of financial control. It'll improve your cash flow, and when you get to your lawyer's office, you will know how to answer that question, how much do you need to live? However, if you need more help on that subject, I wrote a book like this called I'm Getting Divorced, Where Do I Start? It's not very big, easy to conceal. The main issue is money, and that's where my focus is. But I also have a section on dealing with the emotional impact, like how to purge your life, how to purge your kitchen, your closet, your bedroom. This is something nobody talks about. By the time the divorce proceedings are done, you will look like a boss because you are already financially prepared. You have taken simple steps that will make a huge impact on your future. That makes you the boss. That made me the boss. What about you? Do you have any financial stories you can share? I'd love to hear them. It's very empowering when women share their journey and women help each other. I have prepared some free resources for you to download. It's a reflection on when life gives you a new beginning. It starts with an ending. That one is from the heart. And a checklist. Take control of your finances. It's a 30-day plan. When you start preparing your finances, it doesn't matter if you're 60, it doesn't matter if you're 70. Start where you are. That is the most empowering step that you can do. I know it seems daunting, but the steps that I gave you in this video are not complicated. They're easy to do. And with each one that you do, you will feel more empowered. And those obstacles that seemed insurmountable, well, you will overcome them. You will become an empowered woman. And this is why I am doing this. So many of us never know what to expect when we enter into a financial crisis. The best thing to do is prepare before the crisis. Get a grip on your finances before you really need to, so that when trouble comes, you're already prepared. You already have a little bunker. You already have what you need to get through. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Stella, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.